and gentlemen, please don't judge me too harshly. I know you're going to rip on me in the comments. I haven't played in over a year now, and I've literally never done any type of drill shooting course like that before. But if you like the cool slow-mo intro bits, I had a lot of fun doing that stuff, so let me know in the comments. I'll start doing more of it in the future for future stuff. So, you managed to get your hands on what is arguably probably the best gas blowback rifle platform on the market in 2022 going into 23 in terms of overall quality, parts availability, upgradability, and for us here in Australia, our gel version actually happens to be one of the best performing out of the box blasters that money can buy. So you have a ridiculously overpowered system that has a limiter built in from factory like Nerf that makes them semi-field acceptable for regular players in terms of FPS. Why am I wearing gloves, you may ask? Well, I did want to wait until our shipment of CNC internals rocked up so I could show you guys an absolute beast of a Toy Force multiplier. But I think a video, so this is all completely stock, so a video, I couldn't help myself. After that plinking sesh, I may have completely stripped it down to bare pieces, cleaned everything, and repolished everything. So I think a video with stock parts is a little bit better for you guys, just in terms of, it's going to show you exactly what you're working with out of the box. And I will obviously give you guys my tips and tricks as we put it back together. So, let's get into it. Alright, so we're going to do this in sections. Unfortunately, a full M4 worth of parts does not fit on my little work tray. So we're going to start off with the hammer and lower and go from there. So before we do anything, we want to make sure we have our grease, oil grease. So this is a mix I got off a gun forum. It's just normal molly grease. The normal molly grease I use mixed with some motor oil to make it a little bit more viscous. Being in Australia, we have a higher climate. And before I touch these, so my only tip and trick, my only tip for your hammer set in terms of longevity, give it a polish. And if you want to adjust the feel of your wall break and your reset, this set of springs and this set of springs. So this set of springs is what controls our actual trigger tension, and this little spring under the sear is what controls how much force is needed to break the sear hold. Increasing this hammer tension is only going to make it hit the valve knocker harder, and you already have a ridiculously overpowered system. So let's grease him up and put him together. We're going to start off just giving everything a very, very liberal application of our grease oil. Yeah, so I normally just dip my whole hand in and smear it all over. The paintbrush is just to get into the nooks and crannies. See, it's not too heavy. There is just a light coating over the surface. I always have a really hard time explaining to people. It's harder to see on video because everything looks super shiny. It is a very, very thin coating. every single piece. I'm going to give a little... Even our springs. So being in Australia, it's really hot here. The YouTuber I got this tip off, I can't remember her name, but thank you very much. I'll give you a shout out. Yeah, absolutely perfect. So after our little plink sesh, 0 wear and tear on parts. It's my auto sear knocker. There is like the slightest, because this was absolutely covered in this before, much heavier application than we're doing now. And if it's gonna focus, come on, buddy, come on, mate. It's not gonna, doesn't want to. Hang on, I need my mouse. You see that little teeny scratching up top? That was the worst we got. Come on. Focus. There we go. Well, I've got you, so you're getting it. I was very, very surprised there wasn't more damage on the stock hammer set. So I've seen online the main things to go, and we'll get into it. So I have my thoughts and opinions, obviously. On Reddit, the main things to go on the WeTech system is the hammer set and the bolt, the stock bolt. In my experience, as long as you're only running on green gas and not using CO2 mags, which I don't think we should be running CO2 mags here in Australia. I think... Look, I'm actually going to put it in this video. I'll put up the picture that Guido put in the Discord to show the pressure differences at different temperatures between gases and CO2, which is a gas. Between normal regular use gases and CO2, which I really don't think, as a tech, if you're in -0 temperatures, CO2 all the way. If you're in above 0 temperatures, don't touch it. Even if the device is designed for it, green gas in +0. Ooh. I do like this mix. It's a beautiful mix. Alright, ready to assemble. So I'm going to start off with our actual trigger and seal. So our little springy boy sits in here. It slides out of my hand like that. Sits in here, as I was saying, before we were rudely interrupted by a dropping spring. And that is our sear brake. So what we can do, I'm actually going to do that while it's apart, is stretch them out a little bit, or get a stronger spring. Should be a little bit tougher. Little bit tougher. Get in there, boy. We should actually just give this guy a little smearing as well. Yo. Alright. Now, our little springy boys. You will notice when you pull this apart, don't freak out. Just come to the video. I've got you sorted. One side is longer than the other one. The longest side is going into the back end of our hammer assembly, and the short side is going to the front end. The short side actually clips onto... Oh, wrong way. these two little guys down here that you can see. Now, I may mention at this point, today is a awesome day, and I just swore, god damn it. We have the return of the pokey tool. He was under a couch. I found him. He has returned home. All is well in the world. So I can use him to point to my little things that I'm trying to say. These little guys at the front here are what the shorter end of your trigger spring are going to sit on, which we're about to see. Give them a little smearing as well. A smearing. These springs are gearing for smearing. Alright. Shorter end to the front. Longer end to the back. I almost put him around the wrong way. Alright. Now I was going to mention, so this is your reset blah 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 strength. So I should actually, while we're apart, before we do this, this does make putting it back into the hammer housing a lot more difficult. Oh, a bit too much, I reckon. Y'all gonna learn. And I'm wearing gloves, so this is gonna be a lot more difficult. Yeah, okay. So adding a bit more tension to these guys will give you that nicer reset. This is actually just at the bottom of the box and just for the feel of the trigger. Pure, what's the word? Personal preference. Personal preference. How would you like your trigger, sir? Stay on. This is going to be exceptionally more difficult now. But worth it. To make sure that both of our springs are over our post. Which is why I just said this is going to be so much more difficult now that we've got much tighter tension springs. Dear God. It's fine. We can get there. Okay. We got our springy boys. We got our slippery hammer housing. All we want to do is make sure. Well, we got one. Oh, I think we got two. No. Okay. See, best off with a pokey tool. This is a job for the pokey tool. Oh no, it's so slippery. Okay. Yeah, that is a nice pull. Whew. Alright, we've got our 3 pins. They're not knurled, they'll go in any which way. Don't be a dick. Hey! It's my glove. Okay. So all I'm doing is using the tension of my tool in there to line that hole up so my pin will slide in nicely. Like so. Beautiful. And very slippery. Okay, so we have a trigger and seal. Now I'm going to put our auto sear knocker. Auto sear, it's just an auto seal. So basically what happens is when your selector flips over into auto, I think my screen just turned off. I hope that didn't die. Okay. When your selector goes into auto, it is pushing the sear down and bypassing it. Oh, sorry, letting it sit up fully and bypassing it. So the hammer no longer locks on this sear. It's now locking on this guy. So this goes into auto. It angles this forward. This is now our sear, and your bolt is now the trigger. So, or this is now the trigger, the top of this little guy. So when your bolt knocks this, that releases the hammer, and it just keeps doing it until you pull your finger off the trigger, and the sear is back in normal operation. So we're going to put this little guy in now. Oh, actually, no, we should be putting our hammer in first. Sorry. Give him a liberal application of our sauce. Okay, now I don't know how long this is actually going to be. Oopsie doopsie. I think you'll find this will, this video, I mean, might actually wind up being a bit. So all we're doing with this guy, I am not adjusting the tension. We've already got a 450 plus device. We're happy. All we're doing is looping these arms over our post, over the copper post from the trigger. This guy should be real. No, fuck it. I'm going pokey tool method. Nothing beats good old pokey tool method. Like so. Line him up. No! There we go. Damn, that shook the desk. Sorry, lads. Ow. So all that's happening is the bottom of our hammer, when we curve him back, is locking into that top part of the seal sitting in our trigger. Pretty simple mechanism. Alright, now we're going to put our sear in. Oh, yeah, we'll put our valve knocker and such in last. Yeah, just give him some more. Get it done. Alright. So, this little guy. Teeny tiny curved part. Sits upwards. Like this. And that's going to curve back. So that, yeah, we shall see. Like so. Long part down the back end. Down the booty. And teeny part forward, because he's what twists and this bit I always find fiddly. So we'll see if I look like a pro and get it in first time. Nope. Don't let me down. Nope. I'm trying the pokey tool method here.
One eternity later.
Okay, now I can manipulate him a bit better. There we go. So I was having drama with the full length of that. Alright. Now. We can test if we've got a working hammer set. Without a valve knocker in it. Semi. Auto. So your auto sear should lock back when you go into auto. It should go that way. Like so. That's safe. Okay. That, sir, is a working hammer set. Now, we need a valve knocker. And valve knocker locker. Valve knocker locker and valve knocker. Okay. You can see how viscous this is. Nice and slippery. I know what you're thinking. Don't use it for that. It's for metal, not for human bits. Okay, so we have a little spring with a bar in it. All that does is stops the spring over compressing over time from the force of this hitting him. So he's going to sit in there a bit. This bit is a little bit fiddly as well. Oh. And valve knocker. Found you better off sort of just sitting it on top. And oh no, we missed him. Come here, you. There we go, like so. And the hammer will hold him in until we screw our thing on. So pull back, make sure, yep. We have function. If we pull our hammer back, that spring is trying to push him back. I'm going to put some Loctite in these little guys. So the next part of that is our frame. These guys have a tendency to rattle loose very quickly on a stock gun. So... Oh. Sure there's no greasy gunkness in there that will f with our Loctite. All I'm doing is shoving some tissue paper down in our threading first to make sure that it's completely dry in there, which it appears to be. I just wanted to double check. Beep. Alright, now our frame is gonna... It's a bit harder to see on camera, but there is a slot for it to slide down into. That's our front part. Like so. Easy peasy. Hey, you. Nice and tight. You do want to be careful with this guy, same as any valve knocker. This little spring can flick out. So now, should reset. He's locked in, and we can... I am not a fan of just sitting there and letting your hammer smash into itself. That is a working hammer assembly, assembled hammer assembly, an assembled assembly. Now we can put him in a lower receiver and go from there. So we need all of our lower receiver bits. Oop. Alright, moving on to our lower. Pretty easy peasy. This guy is just going to go into this guy. And you put these little bits on. And a buffer tube. So, this was loosey-goosey after our plinking session yesterday. Because I don't like over-tightening stuff and scratching stuff, even though I constantly scratch everything anyway. Alright, actually, and go ahead and give this little bad boy a healthy application of our very very sloppy grease. This is weird for me. I'm used to AEGs and pistols, where we want very, very minimal. Like I'm still keeping minimal, but still a lot more than I normally would use. Oh, that's nice. Okay. So we do have a receive pin. Which this is, I just keep them how they came. The knurling was sitting in the right side. These two pins are dummy. They don't do anything. So same as an AG. It's our only real pin. This one I am going to give him a little application of Loctite as well. If I can pick up the screw bit with my very greasy hands. Boop, in your hole. If you can see me being overly gentle, or overly trying to keep the screws dry and the threading dry, that's just so it gives the Loctite a chance to actually set and dry properly. Dealing with a little bit more reciprocal force on these things in general. Alright, now I actually have... This is why I wanted to wait for the CNC bits to rock up before I did a video. I have the ambi selector. I have the side sling mount to make this the full 1-to-1 Effenhurstel. The exact same as the one that they've got on their website. However, the Ratec ambi selector, CNC selector, is slightly wider inside in the channel than the stock selector. So that's to accommodate their thicker hammer sets, which I've got coming. So with the ambi selector on the stock hammer internals, every shot in single was a 2 or 3 round burst. Just one of those weird little things till it click into functioning properly. So I have to wait for the proper CNC hammer set to use the nice CNC selector. It wouldn't be an issue if it was smaller than the stock because I could mill it out, but it's wider than the stock one. So we're sticking with the stock single right-hander selector for the time being. Which I'm actually going to leave that out till we put our grip on. So here's our grip, next part. Now we've got a little detent. Oh, actually, I do have to stick him in. I am a silly Billy. So to put your fire selector in, you actually need the hammer cocked to push the sear and trigger out of the way. Not just cocked, you have to put tension on it. So you gotta hold your auto selector and push your hammer down past locking point, and that will clear that hole for you. And just spin him in till you hit that sweet spot. Like so. So, semi, auto, semi, auto, save. Wee wee wee. So that is going to be loosey-goosey until we put our pistol grip with our spring and our detent pin thingamabob in the bottom of the receiver here. So he sits in like so. So if you look, I can actually show you. This little guy is what gives our fire selector tension. This and this spring. So if your fire selector is a little bit loose, you can take your stock spring and stretch him out. Give him a bit more tension. This pin is what hits into the beveled recesses there. It has our locking points in it. So if you want, that's another handy point actually, because I've got some on the side. If you can use Tokyo Marui standard grips on these, but the Tokyo Marui standards have a shitty fire selector. So they don't have the hole here. You just drill a hole and you can use a normal spring. That's it. Just gonna... Yeah. I'm trying to explain every little tech thing I can think of that I would possibly want to know. See how nice that is now? Okay, let's screw him in. Come here, boy. There you go. Hey. I need my big boy screwdriver actually for this one. And after we put this in, we're gonna get into the bolt catch. You'll notice there is some little shiny circular things sitting next to it. Nice and tight. That has a lot of tension on him. Listen how nice that sounds. Oh, all right. Okay, so we can put our... No, we'll put the mag catch and bolt catch in there. So I believe this is standard AR spec for the mag catch. So you can use any like actual real AR catch, like all the fancy ones. Now I do have a customer that wants a ambi magazine release. So he's a lefty like me, but he's adamant he has to have the lefty. So I 100% understand. I've just learned to go with it, and I swap like between. So it's like not really an issue for me. But if anyone, I do have a favor. If anyone knows if the AEG mag catches will work in these bad boys, I don't. Alright, I will test. But if anyone knows, please comment. I'm just being lazy. I don't want to test it myself. Please leave in the comments if there are any decent Ambi AR ones online that I can order for the site, or if AEG ones are any good. Yeah, okay. So this little guy is very annoying. You basically have to screw it in. This is our screwing. Oh, is that the wrong way? This is the right way. No? I'm sure this is the correct way. Or I'm not hitting the thing properly. Yeah, okay. I got him, I think. Nope. You son of a gun. Okay, look, I'm going to figure this out quickly, so I know in my brain what I am doing. Yeah, I'm an idiot. Duh. We got this, boys. I just wasn't pushing it in far enough. Woo. Okay. What else? What now, brown cow? You can go away. Bolt catch. You can see I've literally chopped my spring down. So if you do mess around with the tension of this, you can have your mags working with 30 rounds. But it is fiddly, and you do have to polish the bottom of your bolt catch. There's another tip. So the smoother you make this, the nicer your bolt lock is, basically. So your mags will work on... you'll get your bolt lock if you put your spacer in the bottom, but you drop your quantity down to 20, which for me, 30 rounds is already... You're competing against kids with cheapy $10 blasters with drum mags, with top-fed drum mags. So, yeah. Okay. Yeah, the capacity argument to me does not matter in the slightest. I know I'm going to get wrecked by kids with AEGs and HPA rigs and drum mags. Now, the reason I've got these little shimmy boys here, if I can even pick them up. 1, 2. Now, this was I had no thought of this. A customer told me this. David, to look at. So I'd already polished this. And weakened the spring. Oh, I'm an idiot. I'm an absolute idiot. There we go. Okay. Ooh. All right. Yeah, I completely forgot about the fact that this moves in here. So you have stock wobble. Now your bolt catch, this part here, this little teeny corner. Where's my directional pokey tool? This little teeny corner right here is what stops your bolt. I need to focus this. Hang on. That's a bit better. He stops in this little corner, basically. So if I can get that close enough, this is why I'm absolutely very, very OCD about not doing the bolt slapping. because you scratch this up every time you bolt slap it. And when I say bolt slap, I mean using it like in normal function. But realistically, we've seen the amount of wear that you get now. I'm just being OCD with it. Yeah, and there's your bolt, obviously. I've given him a little bit of a polish. Okay, so the reason... Yes, sorry, I forgot why I had that. The reason we have our shims in our bolt catch is to just further reduce wear and tear on our catch point on here. The bolt catch itself is ridiculously hard metal, and would only come up with a proper polish when I hit it with the stainless steel polish. So I don't know metals, I just know what happens when you chop them up and stuff. It is a very good quality metal. But getting the shims onto my little setup is a little bit annoying. That is the correct way. Come here, 1 and 2. Especially with gloves, this is going to be weird. So all I'm doing is slotting them down into the side. Just trying to catch him with the pin as I push him through. Ooh. There we go. Alright, now I can put this guy back in. So also, damn it, I smeared a bunch of grease in there. We got this. Alright. Now, on your recoil buffer, this is what stops it. This little guy sitting in here, pushed up with a spring. I do have some tips for this little guy if you don't want to. So my problem, the only reason I don't like any scratching on any parts on a device is because any scratching that happens results in finer metal particles being spread through the rest of the device. So again, buffer tube, not so important, but it's still going to contribute to overall metal particles throughout our device. This sits in here like so, and it's what our buffer tube recoil buffer stops on when it hits. It stops it from coming out when you pull the thing out. But what happens is, in function, the bolt itself and the pressure of the bolt hitting the thing does stop it, but a little bit further forward. So you still have force going over this guy, and if you look, stock, they will have ridges on them, if that's going to focus. Stock, they will have little edges on them, and every time your buffer hits this guy, he will scrape on those edges. So curving those edges and curving and beveling the edge of the buffer will very, very, very much eliminate wear and tear on the recoil, on this guy. This one. Oh, let's refocus. So he can sit there for a bit. And we're going to Loctite. This little guy in. Oh, don't drippy drop. I do also... Oh, he's just falling all the way in. God damn it, boy! There we go. This little part cops a lot of force and vibration from the bolt and recoil buffer coming back and forth around it in function, so you do want to make sure he's in nice and tight. But I have noticed they are in exceptionally tight stock. Hey. Could we do one more turn? No. Okay. Buffer tube. Pins. Lessons to learn from Danny's mistakes. So your detent pin, your receiver pin for the back is held in by this little pin and spring combo, which is held in through the back by your sling plate. Now, if you look at my spring, you can learn from my mistake and not mash the tip of yours up. So pin goes in, beveled side. One side is flat, one side is beveled. Bevel in. Spring in. You want to actually screw this down without letting your... Okay, I should explain. You don't want to just twist these over because they have learned from my mistakes. There is a groove in your buffer tube that the pin from your sling mount sits in. So you just putting that down and screwing through this damages your threading. But you need to be careful when you're doing this that you don't mash this little spring up. So we're going to see if Danny has learnt his lesson. Now there is one little thing that I want to show you when you're doing this with the upper receiver that can be a little bit annoying. When you're putting it back together and you've done a full assembly and then you realize you have to readjust this. Hey, what are you doing? What was that noise? So you can't just screw this all the way into here. I think I've just put it too far. You know what? I will screw it in a little bit further just so you can see exactly what happens. So if that's screwed in too far... Get in the hole. Your upper won't go on properly. It can't close properly. I think that may actually close. Nope. It's not even gonna let it go back all the way. So yeah, I can't even close the upper properly. When the buffer tube is screwed in all the way, it's because that is stopping the upper going back all the way. So, oi, you naughty. I'm going to take it back and screw a thread, a rotation. And now we'll have a look. Oh, beautiful. Just slots on. Easy peasy. It's in there very tightly. I'm going to show you a trick for tightening these guys up as well. Excuse me, sir. Okay, so we found a good spot for our tube. Now, so this is with the disassembly. People will just try and straight unscrew all this and it'll twist that spring, which is not what we want to do. Now that we've got a good position, I can start screwing this guy down. And this is where our handy dandy little gun wrench tool thing comes into play. So what I like to do to super duper tighten these up is I'm actually going to tighten this as much as I can with, oh, fuck, this is hard to see on camera. He's angled slightly that way, so when it's as tight as I can get it, like that, then I'm going to reef it a little bit more to line it up and have it just as tight as I can possibly get it. So, let's, this is why I've been avoiding doing the M4 videos. Not just the fact that I am ridiculously busy. Come on, buddy. Come on. Do you think? I got you. Come on. I need to hook my little... Come on. Come on. I got him. Alright. Nope, I don't got him. Look, I just need a little bit of... There we go. That's, not even... That's way too far over. Ooh. Okay. This is way more difficult than it needs to be. Just because I'm trying to do it on camera. Peace. I'll get you. No. No. Angle him a bit more. Can't even see what I'm doing. Right. So that's a bit angled. Now I can make him as straight as I can, and it's super duper tight. Toit. Toit. Whew. Okay, move the mat. Alright, so that is a lower. Now we can chuck our grease all over this big boy recoil spring. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Just gonna, for good luck. I don't think you would be able to do this as easily on a real gun for some reason. Okay, that's is an assembled lower, buffer tube, hammer. While I've got the lower, well, actually, I'll explain. I do have another tip and trick, but we can wait till it's the upper's done for that one. We'll do the actually, before we do this guy, I think we do our bolt. And our nozzle. Alright. So we're going to do our nozzle and bolt first, so it's ready to drop into this guy. And we can put everything back together. So, first up, we've got our nozzle. We've made sure our O-rings are A-OK, they're not all frayed and gross. We have our rocket valve. Make sure there's no plastic dags and bits and pieces. So while I've got this, actually, I can explain to you guys. I will show you guys. This is a stock nozzle, and this is a also stock nozzle that I have turned into a high flow nozzle, and also just smoothed every little surface that goes into our hot chamber. So I'm gonna briefly, this is just to show you guys something, and then we'll put them together properly. Okay, so if I can adequately show that, if you can see that, okay. It depends. I need you guys to be able to see the valves clearly. Oh man, I need a torch. Someone sent me a photo of down their magwell the other day. Okay, on the right, this one. Can you see that the valve is held down lower? And on the left, the valve is held up higher? That is the difference between a high flow and low flow nozzle. So on the left one, man, that's so hard to see. On the one on your left, you'll see it's held up to the bottom of the nozzle. And on the right one, it's held about halfway down, which limits its output by almost half. So what that limiter is, if I still focused, is you have, this is what the nozzle, or sorry, the rocket valve sits on inside, is these two little plastic nubs. On a stock nozzle, you have extra plastic here. to hold him down lower and stop as much gas going through. And removing that plastic substantially increases not only the FPS, but actually makes the device more efficient. It is designed to run on the gas volumed output that comes through this as it's designed, not the limited version. So we'll do our nozzle assembly. Oop. There is a little bit of plastic jutting out of one side of the nozzle, and that clips into the two little pieces on the front of him. Like so. Okay. So what I do with our little nozzle pin is I put him in a little bit. Just a tad. And then... Okay, so you'll feel that that's in. Don't stretch this spring too much. If you overstretch it, you will have problems. Alright, so we've got a nozzle. We've got an assembled nozzle. Let's do a bolt. I'm gonna grease this guy up first. He needs a greasing. It's just annoying me seeing him sitting there non-greased. Ah, yeah. Standard Danny treatment inside. Rough edges, sanded off. Bit of polishing on the main sort of contact points with the bolt carrier, whatever you want to call it. Get in there, boy. Alright. Oh no. Where, sir, is your pin? I believe that might be this one. Is it? No. That'll be your pin, sir. I believe. No, that's too big. Where's your pin? I think it might be that one. No. Aha. I knew that random. Yes. Correct pin. Okay. You'll get in the slathering. Okay, so all that pin is going to do is sit behind this notch on here and stop it coming out. Very, very simple for your freedom button. Very simple mode of operation. Pin is stopping it coming out. That's it. You pull this pin out, he comes out. So let's wedge him in there. For our American guys, obviously this is the most important part of the gun, I have been told. I don't know real guns. Okay. Well, that's a bit too much sauce. Just paint it, lad. Now the only place I really don't want this motor oil mix is in here. Look, it's sort of inevitable. You can get metal nozzles. I don't like metal nozzles. There is some specific functionality, engineering-wise. There's a reason they use plastic nozzles. Just fuck metal nozzles. This is a sacrificial part. It is going to wear out because of using the heavier moly greases and whatnot. Unavoidable with a very, very heavy metal on metal movement type product. In saying that, this is still my original nozzle. It's completely fine. I'm just over years, that will eventually eat into the plastic, I would most certainly say. Yeah, good old silicone. Now I do have some oh, that's a bit, yeah, if you stretch your O-ring on your nozzle too much, it's going to be too tight in here. You kind of want the perfect balance between like a good enough seal on this guy and being able to freely slide in your bolt assembly. Look, that should be alright. So what you'll see when you actually put your... well, there's a lot of lube in there. So you can see the circle of the spring hanging out. If you put him in slowly and you look through the hole, but it's not full of lube, you can actually see... oh, it's way too small on camera. But you can see the spring poke into the little slot designed for it. Like this. And then your bolt carrier nozzle pin can go in. Alright. Nozzle bits and pieces. Yeah, so if that's any tighter than that, you're going to have issues in function. See, that's borderline too tight. But we'll give it a day or so, and I would assume that it's going to loosen up a little bit. Woo! It has to retract very quickly, mind you. So we're playing a fine line, very, very, very fine line game with this setup. Alright. We want some blue goodness. This is very important to make sure that it's set properly as well. If this little roller starts moving or coming loose, you are going to, yeah, so you can see I polished that one as well. So if this little guy comes loose, and this is one of the best things about these devices, is all of the other GBBR platforms. I didn't know this, by the way. I thought this was just a given standard that you'd want a roller, an actual decent roller. So I have a nice little replaceable brass roller on there that, just, your cycle is so much smoother. Oh, nice and toit, like a toiger. So that is your bolt carrier, or bolt and nozzle setup. Is this the bolt carrier? Man, I don't know real guns. This guy is going to get lathered. So yeah, as you can see, any surface with metal on metal sliding action gets a polish. That's a polishing. Sounds so much nicer. Okay, so now we're gonna fully assemble our upper here. But I do want to briefly, I'll show you guys now while I've got them out. So I keep hitting my microphone with the toy gun, with the whole, with the thing. So, this was only an issue for me, apparently. A few of my real shooter guys have who've bought them for dry fire practice and whatnot. I thought it was going to be the very first thing they came at me, being like, "No, this is not good enough." So what I noticed, it may have just been mine, but I've noticed it building a lot of them. Maybe it's just I am really finicky. So I noticed stock, yeah, and a lot of them have it stock, is there's that play with the upper receiver. Oh, hang on, we've lost our screen. There's that wobble. So that wobble is the fitment of the upper on the lower, obviously. You get a nicer fitment with the CNC ones. But even with the CNC one, for me, there was still that fractional amount of play, and it just really irked me. So what I did is I got some super glue and I put a dab of it in each of these holes, and it just gives it extra material for the pins to dig into, to hold the upper down tighter. So I don't know about you, and again, I thought it'd be the very first thing all of our dry fire guys would be straight onto, but apparently not. So now we can actually assemble this guy. This is my most disliked part of the assembly. I really don't like this bit. Now, this is my least favorite part of the design. There are a couple of ways it could have been done better. but I understand, alright? You have to disassemble your entire front end to get access to your hop chamber and barrel. Now it is better. It's just much more annoying if you want to swap stuff around and do lots of testing and whatnot like I do. So it's actually held in. Your hop chamber and T-piece is held in to the front of your receiver by this guy and your delta ring. So I don't know, I'll let that sink in for a bit, but basically anytime you want to mess around with your barrel or put in a longer or whatever shorter barrel, you gotta, it's not like an AEG, you gotta fully pull this apart. Look, I'm probably complaining about nothing with that one, but look, it really annoyed me, okay? Woo! I don't know if there's anything I should be explaining here as well. But this is what you'll be getting stock out of the box in terms of parts. So I like a nice light handguard. That will require some fiddling of your own to make sure that you've lined up your gas block. So there's a set of pins in the top part of the handguard that line up your gas rod. Fake gas rod, not gas rod, whatever. To go through. And if you want to get a nice fitment, you are going to have to fully take this apart. Take it apart, screw your delta ring on till you get a nice tight fit, and then set your handguard up accordingly. I'm really lazy. That stuff annoys the out of me. Especially this guy. That annoys me. Whoop. Sorry, guys. Sorry. We're still in frame? We good? Okay. Okay. Angled side. Upwards, because we want to get it upwards into a little hole, which is really annoying. No, did I actually totally get it? Yes! Oh, son, yes! Okay. Alright, now I need my sight. Whew. Okay, so this is my most hated or tedious, annoying part of the teardown in general, is just doing your pins. It can be a little bit fiddly. Is that in the right? I believe so. So very first thing to do is your gas tube block pin thing. So that's actually... So that's a bit loosey-goosey. What I'm going to do is put a dab of super glue on him. Yeah. So on the knurling there. Boop. Before I punch him in. Oh, too much super glue. Just want a little teeny dab on the knurling. Like that. So when I punch it in, it should hold a bit firmer. Ooh. Right. You've got an Allen key in here, which you should definitely, most definitely tighten up before you put all your pins in. Don't ask me how I know. So I also like to make sure this guy's lined up. So loosen that. So it will, once your pins are in, it is only going to sit this way or straight. But there is a little bit of leeway, give and take, when we give and take leeway. There's a little bit of wobble even with the pins in, so you're better off lining it up and tightening the shit out of it. With that, yeah, I'm happy with that. See, that guy's loose as shit as well. A dab of the old glue. Okay. Now, maybe different for everyone else, but when I got this one, the knurling was from left to right. So that's just an OCD thing. I'm sticking with it. Whichever way the knurling comes out of the device originally is what I will be sticking with. Yeah, these ones are still nice and taut. Okay. Now, before I show you guys that, there was meant to be an extra 5-10 minutes worth of video at the start of this, with your intro, with a full range test, with a hop-up. I made myself, well, I didn't make it, I didn't design it. I chopped down a riser hop-up to fit inside the flash hider. So it just slots in. I'm not going to push him in because then I won't be able to get him out. But it just slots in, it's press fit, and now I've just put him in too tight. Put him in too far. Now I'm not going to get him out again. So I was going to do a full range test, except I couldn't find the hop-up yesterday. I did bring it with me. I knew I brought it with me. I had put it, I had blue tacked it here on this little clip, which goes in the pistol grip. And I completely forgot about that. So I was a little bit shitty. And I didn't notice any rattling in there all day, so it stuck to the blue tack the whole day with me throwing myself around. Yeah, I do apologize. I was supposed to give you a full range test with hop-up. Obviously, it'd be a little bit more accurate with a hop-up, but on a nice barrel at 400 plus FPS. This is doing 450 plus, 460, 480. Ridiculously beyond my... I had no expectation of usable accuracy out of these. You can quite happily sit there and plink targets at 10, 15 meters, even 20-ish meters, as is, with no hop-up. Okay, so let's... Hey, you. Oh. All right. So it's a bit hard. This is why I've been avoiding a tech video. It's a bit hard for me to have a full M4. You can see that seal. If you've got any tighter than that on your air seal, you're gonna have issues, son. Oh, that's my mic. So there is probably a bunch of other that I am forgetting, and I totally have forgotten to try not to swear. That's our new thing, guys. You gotta stop me swearing so much. That's YouTube doesn't like the swearing. I'm very, very sorry, Susan. It's just, I'm Australian. There's obviously other Aussie streamers. It's swearing, like the C word and the F word, is a very colloquial part of the Australian language. It's not offensive. We're not meaning offense in any way. So the C word is the most vague, overall, descriptive word, descriptive, whatever, in the Australian language. The C word very much represents the heart and soul of this country, and you won't let me say it on YouTube. Susan, come on. And you're kind of cute. What? Okay, so, lads. That is one. Oh, no. I've forgotten the most important thing. No, A2. So this adapter is for both A1 and A2 size outer barrels. And surprisingly, believe it or not, these two little things, pins, if I can pick them up. They are very loose. I can push them in with my fingers. No dramas at all with them in actual function. So half of my worries are null and void with any of this stuff anyway. There we go. One. Let's sort of push this going a bit. This top one. Hey. What are you doing, lad? Ooh. Oh, there you go. There you go. If I can put it in with my fingers, it's probably not very tight. But yeah, I was super worried about the looseness of these little pins. Ooh. Nothing. Okay, we got a sight. Loosen up, little buddy. Oh, believe. No, he's a slightly bigger one. That'll be. No, totally wrong. Oh yeah, if I can reach it, it's so far away. Oh yeah. That, sir, would be the correct one. On you go. On you go. Alright, so that is a completely assembled WE/ECCCB WE/East Coast Custom Blasters Custom M4A1 Open Bolt GBBR system. Alright, anything I've forgotten, guys? In the comments, you know the drill. I probably have forgotten a bunch of stuff, but I've gone over every sort of little thing that I can think of while we put him together, that you're gonna run into in day-to-day use. They are a lot stronger. They're a lot tougher than even I thought they were going to be. I will say that. We've had some customers be exceptionally rough with them. With 0 frame damage, 0 receiver damage. Yeah, they are a lot tougher than I thought they were. So, I think that's all I've got for you this one. Well, this video. There will be more coming once I've got the CNC hammer sets in. CNC hammer set, CNC bolt. Beast of a toy. Other than that, I think that's it. I shall see you guys in the next video. Alright, peace.